Hello, my name is Michelle Ferris. I am going to be doing the critical race narrative video. So, the first thing is in the reading, racial identity is defined as one's sense of self related to their membership of a racial group. That's the definition that's in the book, right? How does it help you examine and understand your own racial identity? So it helped me understand by using situations and lifestyles and events that has happened to me or someone in my family. My personal experiences, family, and community all played a role in understanding my own racial identity, particularly, especially my community. I grew up in a predominantly African American neighborhood in South Los Angeles. And I remember times as a child driving to Burbank, Beverly Hills, the area where the Grove is on 3rd Street or 6th Street or something in LA, and seeing that that community was different, it was cleaner, bigger houses, not a lot of apartments. I really didn't see a lot of apartments or mobile homes at that too. Didn't see a lot of those. But yes, community basically, helps determine that. I would go to other communities, like I said, and compare, what it was where I lived versus where it was, where we came from and where we were going. So I went from living South Central Los Angeles to Downey, and I saw how the schools were different, how I went from, like I said, predominantly Black community to a predominantly Hispanic community, which was shocking, different. The first thing that I noticed in that community was the grocery stores. Instead of Food for Less or Ralph's or Vaughn's, there was North Market and a store I couldn't even pronounce. There was a lot of Hispanic grocery stores and a lot of markets that were in Spanish and a lot of cleaners that was in Spanish instead of, just cleaners in English or market in English. It was in Spanish, and that's when I knew I'm like, I'm different, But because I'm adaptable, I was able to adapt the environment I was placed in and thrive there. I am still able to coexist with people of different races because that drastic change in my teen life made me believe that, okay, if I can go from this area to this area and be okay and don't have like culture shock, then I should be able to be okay anywhere. So that's exactly what happened. Anyways, race plays a significant role in framing one's racial identity. It acts as a handbook for the world that categorizes individuals based on physical characteristics. It can influence how one is treated, perceived, and interacts with the world around them. One fond memory that I have was childhood memory of preschool, and I had went to a school that had a diverse community, but it was my first interaction with a kid my age that was white. And first thing she came and said to me was, "Why is your hair greasy?" As African American kid, your mom put grease on your hair, your face, everywhere. And you're kind of greasy, probably head to toe. She got that Vaseline and she doing it, and then she got that blue magic in your hair. So the little girl came and asked, why was I greasy? And I told her, oh, they put grease in my hair to do my hair. And she was like, what? They put something in your hair to do your hair? It was kind of shocking to her. And then I just looked at her like, oh, they don't do that to yours? And she was like, no, they just brush it and it falls into place, and that was it. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's different. And from that day on, we compared hair texture, skin colors, um, all of that. Like why our hand like this looked similar, but our hand like this looked different. It was stuff like that I remember. And then there was a social encounter that I had was with the police in El Segundo by Dockweiler Beach. If you're from LA County, Dockweiler Beach, El Segundo, predominantly white. I was driving and police stopped us and just asked us, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here." And we were like, "We're going to the beach." And they're like, "Get to the beach and then you go home." And I was just like, okay, like what happened here? But anyways, going on to the institutionalized racism. I was a witness, did never experience it hand on. I was a witness to it happening at a local Chuck E. Cheese in the area. It was very different for me because I've never seen other people than white people do this. But I worked at Chuck E. Cheese in a Hispanic area. I was in high school, and of course the language barrier was an issue. And in that time and space, I was the only African American that worked there, and I told a couple of friends to come apply because they had backgrounds in customer service and things like that. And they were told by management that they needed to speak Spanish and that they didn't want a lot of Black kids there or working there because it would make the establishment ghetto. Immediately I was like, what? That's crazy that they would think that. But yeah, that was what they were told. And so I quit. During that time, I was going through identity versus role confusion stage because I was a teenager, going through that and finding out, finding my place in school and finding friend groups, and then also adjusting to going from a predominantly Black neighborhood to a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood was different for me. At that time, being told that the establishment, Chuck E. Cheese, didn't want Blacks to be there, or a lot of Blacks to be there because it would make, their company ghetto. It made me quit with the assumption that I was defending the kids that came there. I was defending Black people overall. I was choosing my friends' honor over money and decided to take my talents elsewhere, in which I ended up getting hired by Disneyland. So cheers to that. So last one, according to the article written by UC Davis Office of the Vice Chancellor for Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion, that's where I got from that article. I got one thing that I could do when it comes to challenging power structures. One thing that I can do is educate myself on racial injustice and related issues. Another thing that I could do is file an EEO complaint on the company, follow up with it, and don't let it slide. Because if you let it slide, it gets worse. Standing up and letting the proper authorities know what's going on could help. And, also by giving suggestion of adding some diversity in the establishment, not being to where it's just only Hispanics that work there or only a certain race that works somewhere, make it more diverse to where they can hire people any kind of way. As long as they're qualified, let that be the only thing, that they're qualified. But thank you.